In the last episode of the Fiorentina Career Mode, we signed IRL transfer Nico Gonzalez as well as former Fiorentina player Josip Ilicic. Our second season in Europa League was a massive success as we went undefeated in our group. Hey, what's going on everyone? Flick here. Welcome back to another episode of our FIFA 21 Fiorentina Career Mode. This is episode number 6 and the dramatic conclusion to season 3. We know from seasons prior that we are right up there with the best of the best in Serie A. And as far as Europa League goes, we went undefeated in our group as we're now through to the knockout rounds and the round of 32 against Genk. I asked in the last episode which area of this team y'all think we should improve, keeping in mind that we have a brand exposure objective for us to sign a crucial defender to the squad, pretty much giving us two different options. We could either sign a center back, add a little bit more rotation to our defense, or we could sign a right back and use a development plan to convert them to more of a defensive-minded right midfielder. And looking through the comments of the last episode, I totally agree that we've strayed a little bit from the original Fiorentina tactics, so signing a defensive-minded winger would be putting us right back on track. There were 3 different Premier League options to choose from: Hector Bellerin, now at Newcastle, Pablo Maffeo transferred away from Stuttgart, and Tariq Lamptey still at his original club in Brighton. Maffeo did win that vote. This will be my first time using him in FIFA 21, but he seems to be a popular signing as a few of you really rated him in game, and hopefully he can make the difference for us in this Fiorentina squad. Very well balanced in his statistics. The only area that he is lacking is the shooting category, and that's not something we really ask our right midfielders to do all that often. It was a pretty expensive signing at 35 million, but y'all know that transfer funds are not really going to be an issue for us for the remainder of this career mode. We're just trying to get that manager rating up, keep a well-balanced squad, and hopefully keep making progress season after season. As always, I massively appreciate all the support shown on this Fiorentina career mode. I think we found a really good balance between the decisions I make in the save and the decisions y'all make in the comments section, as well as some of the polls on other platforms. If you're enjoying the series, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. But getting into some other transfer talks, we have received the first over 100 million offer for Vlahovic, who's actually starting to get linked with some big clubs IRL. I know Spurs are potentially looking for a Harry Kane replacement. Honestly, he's right up there with the top transfer targets, and whatever he's lacking in experience, I think he makes up for in potential. We've come to the conclusion though in this save that he will be staying at the club and becoming a legend for us. We've always been on the search for a top goal scorer, and Vlahovic is starting to hit his stride. Just the one transfer in with Maffeo and one transfer out of the club, as Rasmussen, one of our backup center backs, will be sent out on loan. He has good potential, so I figure he might as well get some playtime over at Schalke 04 as we get into the top 5 spending clubs in Serie A. Although we got off to a quick start in this career mode with clubs spending well over 100 million, it seems like it has sort of simmered down, as Napoli was the top spender with 81.7, Inter in second with 71.8. Udinese making moves as they try to qualify for Europa League. They'll be spending 42.9 million. As we finally get into the top 5, it took 3 seasons, but we've done it, spending 35 million in this transfer window. And to round things out, we do have Atalanta in 5th with 32.2 million. On to youth scouting. We'll keep our typical scouting report in Italy for 6 months, looking for any type of player. And this is right around the time where I ask for any additional countries y'all would like to see scouted for the last season or 2 of this career mode. I'm kind of coming to a blank, so we'll be scouting some countries that I don't believe we've yet found promising prospects from. Serbia for 6 months, looking for a physically strong player, and also Colombia for 6 months, looking for a winger. The motivation to this is that Luis Muriel, a few seasons back, did play for Fiorentina, although he's listed as a striker. I think a winger would be more likely to find a pacey player that we could potentially convert to a center forward or striker. In regards to development plans, we just have the single change: Maffeo switching over to the right midfielder position. That is going to take 62 weeks. That might be sped up though, depending on how his form is. If he gets in good form, it could go quicker. But a busy January, as we have a lot of Serie A fixtures as well as Copa Italia matches. Round of 16, we saw ourselves match up against Parma. We won that fixture 3-0, putting us through to the quarterfinals, and AC Milan as our opponent. We're going to see another 3-0 result, although this time we were on the losing end, knocking us out of the Copa Italia. So now full attention can go towards Serie A, a top 4 finish, and hopefully reaching the later stages of Europa League in consecutive seasons. This will be the squad loadout going into those competitions. Dromgoski leading the way from the back at an 86 overall, Milenkovic in second with an 85, and of course Vlahovic at the 84 rating. A lot of promising players at this Fiorentina team. We'll see how much more we can progress in half a season's time. As bright as the future may be for us at Fiorentina, we need to start getting results right away, and that begins in Europa League. As mentioned earlier, Genk will be our opponent for the round of 32. The Belgian side is quality, but not nearly as strong as they were at the start of FIFA 21 when they had the likes of Mela in their starting 11. That didn't stop them from picking up a winning result in the simulated fixture as they won the match 2-1. Now, with all the pressure on us to perform well at home and get a winning result, this will be a good test for our Fiorentina squad to show that we can take care of business. Right from kickoff, we were playing a high press, and it's Bonaventura to win us back possession. Has some support here in the midfield. A good skill move to hold up the play a bit, and it's some intense pressing from Vlahovic to win back the ball, and that will give us the opener just 6 minutes into this one. Granted, we were fortunate for Genk to be messing around in the back and not get this one cleared initially, but you've got to respect the tenacity from Vlahovic to look to kick off our scoring early. It's Isco that's played through. He also is going to go straight to goal. The deflection goes right back to us, and it's Ilicic, our most experienced player, the veteran, whatever you want to call him, who gives us a second goal and puts us ahead on aggregate. We were still pushing forward players though, and it's Bonaventura that is going to send this ball into the roof of the net. No keeper in the world is going to be saving that one. Our captain, despite dropping a little bit in his rating now, still has the quality in game, and I plan on him being a long-term player for SF Fiorentina, even if he isn't in the starting 11. But now we're going to switch gears to some good defensive stops. Nice save there from Dromgoski, and a pretty good effort from Genk. They were trying to make this a match once again, but our Polish goalkeeper is in the form of his life, and he's trying to keep a clean sheet. We're on the verge of the halftime break, but we'll try to get one more attacking chance in, and it's Nico Gonzalez down the left side, has Vlahovic in the middle. How about this for a header? Deflected by the goalkeeper, but not enough to stop the ball from going in. That's 4 goals in 45 minutes of play. One of the best first half performances we've had so far in the save, and what a time to get this sort of result. I was nervous going into this fixture, but I knew that if we could score some goals early on, that we could change the tide and the momentum of this match. And now that we're ahead 5-2 on aggregate, it appears that we'll be able to advance to the next round of Europa League. Making a change as Kokorin gets an appearance. He hasn't featured all that much for us in season 3, but even though he is 31, 32 years old, he is maintaining his rating pretty well, and I still plan on using him as an impact substitute when we need to call upon him. It is Vlahovic to get his 3rd goal of the match, making it 6-2 on aggregate. And with just 25 minutes left to play, a couple of these defensive mistakes won't matter all that much. I would like to see some better performances, though, from Castrovilli. I know that he's no longer in the first team due to the great performances of Bonaventura and the signing of Isco. But come season 4 or even season 5, he's definitely going to be one of our young players for the future. But I'm not going to focus too much on our mistakes. It was an outstanding performance as Vlahovic gets the match ball. And if we can play like this for the rest of our Europa League campaign, I see no reason we can't get back to the final. The competition in Europa League has started to narrow down in the round of 16. The majority of sides are from the top 5 leagues. And it's a difficult opponent for us as we match up against Monaco, who have made the big signing up top, Patson Daka. Although news has recently come out that he has signed for Leicester City, he has made the transfer in this save to the French side. And we of course know from our Marseille career mode that this is a tough opponent, probably one of the top 3 to 4 teams in France. For whatever reason, Lacazette did not feature in the starting 11 for this match, but in the simulated fixture, he scored 2 goals alongside the single goal from Daka, giving Monaco the 3-1 result. Going into this one, I was wondering if the 5-0 result we had against Genk was an outlier. Maybe it was motivated by the home fans that were cheering us on, because we need to try to replicate something similar in this one. It's Locatelli that starts things off strong for the French side. Probably should have scored a goal from that, but it's going to be a continued pressure from Patson Daka. He was called back from offside, but that's just a sign of things to come. He's always going to be a threat in front of goal. I know he had a great season for Salzburg IRL, and he'll be a tough striker to shut down. To go along with that, our own chances seem to be going just wide, including this effort from Vlahovic. We're going to try to change the momentum of the match by trying to pressure Monaco from the back. For whatever reason, they didn't have a passing option. Ilicic with one of the easiest assists he's ever going to have, and Vlahovic just a tap in for him in front of goal. That'll have us trailing just 1 on aggregate. Keep in mind though that we need to continue scoring away goals, as Monaco had 3 in their last fixtures. So realistically, we need to score 2 more and try to keep this clean sheet, as we will make a change. Ilicic being brought off. You already know it's going to be Kouame that is brought on. He really is a late game player with all the pace that he has to offer. And now that his shooting statistics have gotten better and he seems to be more clinical in front of goal, he's the perfect player for this sort of situation. We're now into the 69th minute. Time is certainly not on our side, and it's Gonzalez trying to score his first goal for Fiorentina. He won't get it on this effort, as that was a good save from the Monaco keeper. To his left, just hitting that one out of play for a corner kick. Now into the 86th. On one hand, we need to rush our play, but on the other, we can't afford to lose hold of possession. This is a great turn from Isco, and what an effort across goal to get another goal back. That's going to draw things level on aggregate. The advantage still going to Monaco though, due to the away goals rule. I'm sure y'all have been in this sort of situation before where you need to win back possession. The CPU is trying to hang on to the ball as much as possible, but we will get our chance here with just 1 minute left to play. Castrovilli through to Kouame, the fake shot back into Castrovilli, and although he made some mistakes in the last match, he's absolutely going to make up for it in this one. On the brink of being knocked out of Europa League, we will get the go-ahead goal, and this may very well be the most dramatic moment we'll ever have in this Fiorentina Career Mode, and it's right up there with one of my favorite moments in FIFA 21 so far. On that note, we're through to the quarterfinals, and we'll match up against a Spanish side in Valencia, another one of our former career modes. But their selection of players in the starting 11 is much different than the side that Valencia begins the save with. You might recognize some names such as Gabriel Paulista and Gonzalo Guedes, but I think one of their most marquee signings has to be Belotti at the striker position. The Italian is someone that we were considering signing for us, and maybe he'll be the player that makes the difference in this one. He was the only player to score in the simulated fixture as Valencia won that 1-0. So now as we return back home to Florence, we're set in another situation where we're down on aggregate in Europa League, but that hasn't stopped us yet. We need to put in a strong 90 minutes and get the winning result. Our highlights will get off to a positive start. It's Vlahovic to find Castrovilli, a through ball to Maffeo, who is onside, a chance for him to make an impact at Fiorentina. Unfortunately, the shot saved well by the Valencia goalkeeper. Once again, one extra pass to Gonzalez. If he had been played through directly, maybe this would have been another goal-scoring opportunity. But defensive mistake from Castrovilli. It seems like he's making a lot of those in this episode. And Gonzalo Guedes will make us pay, giving Valencia the lead shortly after the halftime break. This puts us in a difficult position of having to score 3 goals in about 30 minutes. It's a tough feat, but so have each of our previous 2 Europa League matches. We're going to look for the instant reply. It's Bonaventura to Vlahovic, who has turned out to be one of the only goal scorers for us in this episode. Fair play, though, to the Valencia goalkeeper. He has pulled off a couple of saves in these 63 minutes, and he's going to get another one here, denying Kouame's effort. It's when the computer is making save after save that you need to make some sort of change. We're going to switch around our striker combo, this time with Ilicic and Vlahovic, who has proved to be effective for us in Season 3. Ilicic does have enough pace to get by the Valencia defenders, and a fantastic effort going narrowly wide on his weak foot there. Now playing through Gonzalez, the defender, unable to get a slide tackle on that one. Now to Ilicic, and with outside of his foot, he's going to bring one back. Maybe this direct sort of play is something that we should have done earlier on, but still 14 minutes left. Unfortunately, though, Valencia is going to get the last kick of the ball. It's Soler that's brought on late. His effort going over the crossbar, but on aggregate, Valencia will be advancing 2-1. I think man of the match has to go to the Valencia keeper. Bernardo Nini has transferred in from Liga, and the former Angers man will bring the Spanish side one step closer to the Europa League final. So where does that leave us? 2 matches remaining in Serie A, and as we switch over to the table, we have successfully secured a spot in Champions League for next season, but we're going to be battling with Milan for the third place finish. It's been about 2 seasons since we last featured a gameplay fixture against Juventus, and I thought we would check in with Chiesa. He's up to an 84 overall, starting as a left midfielder. Happy to see that he's actually getting regular minutes in this career mode, and he's turning out to be an impact player for Italy IRL in the Euros. Unlike most of our gameplay matches today, this fixture against Juventus got off to a slow start, but it's a nice first goal from Richarlison. Took a touch with the outside of his foot, finished with the same left foot, and it's a pretty quality goal by the Brazilian striker. 5-star weak foot means that whether it's on his left, whether it's on his right, he's always going to be clinical in front of goal. Not too sure about that celebration, but we move on with a fantastic through ball from Isco, setting up Maffeo, but on his right foot, he's just not clinical in front of goal. We talked about how his shooting stat was really the only weak area, and it turns out to be kind of a downfall in this episode. But good save from the back from Drumgolski. It's Richarlison that stays with it, just getting by so many of our defenders with the precise dribbling. Eventually, it falls back to Richarlison. He is going to double Juve's lead just before the halftime break. I felt like this match was a pretty close contest, but Juve just have the elite players that we're going to be looking to sign in the next season of this career mode. But we push on in the 56th minute. Kwame playing through Vlahovic, just not finding the right pass there. It's Maffeo finding Isco, somehow keeping hold of possession, but Kwame was called back for offside on that occasion. So this one will end 2-0, and I believe this mathematically secures Juve the Serie A title. We were maybe looking to throw a wrench into their plans and take away some points from them, but generally speaking, they're always going to be the team to beat in Italy. We do still have something to play for in this final Serie A fixture against Cagliari. We could potentially overtake Milan for the third place spot if they pick up a draw or a loss. In addition to that, I wanted to feature 2 retiring players. They are no longer in our plans, but Valero, I believe he's also leaving Fiorentina IRL, so this fits in nicely with a couple of storylines. He's at a 56 overall, his contract finally coming to an end, and another Spanish player in Jose Callejon, a little bit higher rated at 67, and he was a pretty important player for our team in Season 1 and Season 2, so I want to give them a good final match. Of course, they're not going to be included in our starting 11, but just like I typically do, if we do have a lead towards the end of this one, then we'll bring them on as a substitute so they can get a couple of minutes. So for the Serie A send-off, I thought it might be a good idea to ask and check in what you all want to see for the remainder of this career mode. Now that we will be in Champions League, there is a possibility that if we go on to win Serie A and Champions League in Season 4, that could potentially be the final season of the Fiorentina save. It is also dependent on when news for FIFA 22 starts coming out, when the actual release date's going to be, and what other series we might do for the remainder of FIFA 21. But getting into the highlights, we do get a chance here at the end of the first half. It's Gonzalez. I'm not sure what to say about him. I mean, he has grown a couple in his rating, so he's been a quality addition to the team in that sense, but I want him to make more of a difference in game for the upcoming season. Hopefully that'll be the case, and we can see some big numbers from our Argentine winger. Huge stop, though, from Drumgolski to keep things level as we get into the 60th minute. It's Vlahovic to Bonaventura, now to Kwame, through to Gonzalez, who has his shot denied by the Cagliari defender. We're going to make those changes, bringing Callejon on at the right mid position for Maffeo. Borja Valero, on the other hand, will act as a center midfielder being brought on for Bonaventura. And I've got to say, these changes ended up being the difference maker in this match. We're in the 83rd minute, and it was Borja Valero that played a big role in the build-up to this. Again, we have a bit of fortune for this ball to fall right back to us. Kwame didn't look like he was going to get a goal on that occasion, but he had the awareness to pick up the loose ball and find the back of the net. That will be enough for us to pick up a 1-0 victory and close off our Serie A campaign with a win. We've got quite a bit to cover, though, for the end of season recap, so we'll get right into that. The race for top 4 in Serie A ended up being pretty routine. There were a few clubs in the mix in January, but it was Juve that won the league with 91 points. Atalanta in second with 86. We finished third with 74 points. Milan rounding out the top 4 with 73 points. There have been a couple of clubs underperforming, though, in Serie A. I would say Inter would be pretty disappointed with the 5th place finish, only Europa League for them. That's actually where I'm going to incorporate today's big decision for you all. Between the 3 clubs that finish outside of European competitions, Udinese, Napoli, and Lazio, which one of those three do you think we should sign players from? Starting with Udinese and a center midfielder in Rodrigo de Paul. I think if we use a couple of position changes or development plans on him, we could definitely see an improvement in his rating and find his way into the Fiorentina first team. Next up is Victor Osimhen. I think a world-class talent would definitely want to be in European competitions, so he would likely be looking to move away from Napoli. We've been in desperate need of a goal scorer, and we might be able to find that with this player. Finally, we've got a player who's a new addition in Serie A. Zagadou has transferred away from Dortmund. The left-footed center back could also find his way into our starting 11, considering we don't really have left-footed defenders. He has his pros and his cons, but in game, he's an excellent player. The only thing I would be concerned about is that he is injury prone. Hopefully you're happy with those player picks. I'd love to hear your opinions on the matter and which player you think I should sign in season 4. Leave that in the comment section. I'm also making a post over on Instagram, so get involved over there. But back to the Fiorentina squad and our statistics. Vlahovic over 20 goals for the first time in this career mode, 21 goals from 49 appearances. Gonzalez, a pretty good campaign in season 3, 14 goals from 51, and Bonaventura still in the top 3, 9 goals from 48. Bonaventura contributing 9 assists to go with the 9 goals as he led the club. A few players on 7 assists, Amrabat, Isco, as well as Gonzalez. We've had some excellent players come through our youth academy system, particularly from Portugal, and we'll be keeping track of the likes of Hugo Magellan, up +9 to his 71 overall during his loan spell at Vitesse. We've likened Gabriel Moreira to Rui Costa, and he seems to be on his way to that peak potential, up to a 73 overall. Let's not forget about Mauro Grasso. He is up to a 71 overall, only +5 this season, but had some of the best potentials. So I definitely think he's in the mix for one of our best youth academy players. Switching gears to league statistics, we unfortunately didn't have any appearances in the top 15 for goals, but it was Yazica that led the way in Serie A, 21 goals from 36 appearances. Sanchez was the only outfielder that had over 10 assists in the league, 13 from 34 for him, as we had the one player in the top 15, Bonaventura, 7 from 34. No doubts for us from the back though. Drumgoski again was the top goalkeeper in Serie A, 18 clean sheets from 38 appearances, nearly a clean sheet in every other match. Recapping our competitions for the season, we saw an exit in the quarterfinal for the Copa Italia. It was Atalanta that won that competition 2-1 over Milan in the final. Barcelona won Champions League over Liverpool 4-2. And then, of course, our Europa League campaign, we're well familiar with that. Again, an exit in the quarterfinal to Valencia, who went on to win the entire competition with a big victory in an all-Spanish final, 2-1 over Atletico Madrid. We've had another successful season for youth scouting, a lot of players over 60 rating, which is kind of the threshold I'm looking at this point in the save. If they're not over a 60 overall, they just won't develop in time to reach their peak rating by the end of the save. Emilio Barros will absolutely be a promotion for next season, and I wouldn't be all that surprised if you saw double-digit growth for season 4. Another player in Sadami, who is from Ghana, left back, center back, or right back. I think he would be a very good center back option for us because he's got the pace, he's got the physical statistics. We would just essentially need to work on his defending. Agudelo is another defender, this time from Argentina, at a 64 overall, 85 to 91 potential, and then closing out the report with another defender, which seems to be the popular position. Great name as well, Luka Lonkar, a left back slash right back from Serbia, 84 to 94 potential. So let me know if you want to see any of these guys factored into the first team or even as substitutes next season. I don't mind mixing things up as we get to the later stages of the career mode. As we switch over to the entire squad recap, I want to get my thoughts on season 4 and where I want the save to be headed. Now that we are in Champions League, I'm not going to limit the transfers that we make so much. I want to make those world-class signings and push Fiorentina to be the top club in Serie A as well as in all of Europe. In order to win simulated fixtures, you need those players with high enough ratings, and although we've developed some great talents already, we need a little bit of extra help. Of course, I've covered some transfer options already, but if you think there are any areas of this Fiorentina team that is lacking, let me know in the comment section. Also, depending on how board objectives go for season 4, we might do a couple of twists, just like we did this year, signing a crucial defender. So if we run to a similar objective, we might switch plans a little bit. But a big thanks to channel members for helping support what we do here on YouTube. If you're ever interested in learning more about the YouTube membership program, make sure to hit the join button right underneath the video. But I'm definitely excited to start recording for season 4 of the career mode. We're starting to reach those end stages of the save, and if we can catch form at the right time, we may even end up winning it all with La Viola. But if you have enjoyed this episode of the Fiorentina Career Mode, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. But until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to you all again soon.